And so now when we're walking back and people are like, hey, you find it? Yeah, we fucking found it. We found the JFK bomb shelter.
This is the Welcome Distraction Podcast with the Kemp brothers. Their immature stories, advice, and opinions are their own and should be taken with the same level of seriousness as a drunk uncle's late-night conspiracy theory. Now buckle up, buttercups. It's about to get weird.
Hey, thanks for joining us again here at the Welcome Distraction. I'm here, your host, Nicholas Kemp, joined by the twins, Brett Kemp and Christopher Kemp.
Here it is.
So we're going to jump right into it and get back to some of our stories. And one of the things that I've been thinking about lately was our pontoon boat that we had growing up down in West Palm Beach. You guys remember that?
Yeah, piece of shit pontoon.
You piece of shit.
Dad, he got it from a Boy Scout troop. So they had this boat.
The hell are the Boy Scouts doing with the pontoon boat? I guess it is South Florida.
My dad's buddies found this great deal. Of course, you know, our dad never really understood the whole you get what you pay for. He got a great deal.
Did he, though?
It floated, didn't run.
I'm pretty sure he spent more time working on it than we actually did get to enjoy it. And
Nothing worse than being on an unreliable boat out in the ocean or in the middle of a body of water.
the majority of my memories on the boat was us cleaning it.
Day's never finished. Master got me working.
South Florida, humidity, covered in mildew and pine needles and shit. That's
Slippery
the year. Yeah. Good times. Good
We never took it out in fresh water. We always had to take it out in salt water. And as soon as we got home, Dad'd be like, all right, go and clean it.
Do your thing.
So, but I remember we'd go out on that boat. We'd take it on the intercoastal down in West Palm Beach. And one of the popular spots was Peanut Island. You guys remember that?
Peanut Island.
Not penis.
What's this? Is it your penis? Nah, I'm just fooling.
Totally different.
Epstein Island.
Nope.
Oh, peanut. Because it was the shape of a peanut. Okay,
It really
okay.
wasn't that big of an island. Like, you could run around it probably in, an hour or so?
Yeah, I
Maybe
think something
hauling
like
butt. Yeah, it wasn't.
that. Yeah, and we
too
would just
big.
pull up to the shore. It was one of those where you could just kind of ground your boat somewhere close throughout a
But it was a
small
very
anchor.
dense island as far as woods and...
Oh, yeah, that's right. You
um,
couldn't, see
yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
you
a
could absolutely
forest.
disappear in the brush pretty quick.
It was like a
Mhm.
party island, I remember. Because anytime,
Yeah.
because I was what, like 10? You guys were like 13.
Mhm.
I remember you would anchor off the island and we'd swim up and you get up there and there'd be like beer cans everywhere. The older crowd, it was a popular spot, I think, to go and hang out
Right.
and drink
Right.
and hang out. But like you guys said, it was covered in, pine needles and pine trees, and it was just,
Mhm.
it wasn't the easiest island to navigate, but we had heard rumors
Yeah.
about this bomb shelter that it existed on this island.
The JFK bomb shelter.
Who first told us about that? Dad? Because him growing up there and everything?
I just remember hearing about it, and every time anybody mentioned it, it was this urban legend of the JFK bomb shelters out there
I
somewhere.
think we would go to it and we would talk about it and we'd peer into it a little bit, into the island, never really do too much, and never
crisscross a
saw
little bit here and
anything
there.
really close. Yeah.
I know we didn't have the internet back then, so you're just going off of like word of mouth, and people are like, yeah, they built it back in the 60s during the Cuban Missile Crisis, back when Russia and Cuba were colluding, and we were like minutes away from, the World War III and end of the world nuclear bombings. And we're like, there's no way there's a bomb shelter.
That's what the basis of the movie 13 Days is about.
I remember walking whenever anybody was on the island and they were away from the boat, you would eventually cross paths with them, and they'd be like, hey, you guys looking for the bomb shelter? Oh, yeah. You find it? No. So it was just more and more of this thing doesn't exist. There's no such thing. What are they even talking about? But as a kid, you're just like, this is an adventure. This is Goonies. We're going to go find this shit.
Are you almost done? What? Oh my God. Oh, wow.
It's going to be amazing. And our parents just let us run wild, go get lost for a while.
Mhm.
And like you said, it wasn't a huge island, but it was pretty dense. So, and our favorite thing to do when we were kids was run away from Nicholas.
Because most of the time we just ran around the edge of the island. We'd go into a little bit of woods
because we'd be too afraid to go in there.
or we
But
wouldn't
I mean,
have shoes or something
yeah.
of that nature.
It was thick. Like the fact that we had to swim from the boat to the island. You didn't have your shoes. I mean, it hurt to to navigate it barefoot. We went out. I remember we went out there one day. We were like, this is the day. We're gonna find it today. And we had somebody with us. I don't even know who the hell he was.
I can vaguely picture this round, non-athletic, semi-fat man who was just funny as hell. I remember that. And he was down to party. He was like, all right, I'm going with you guys. And I remember we were with some other kids, and Nicholas was with us. And me and Christopher just decided to take off. And we just started running away from you, Nicholas, like we would always do on our bikes or on foot in the neighborhood, and be like, go, 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 go. And we just started running away. And we started cutting through the island.
Yeah, we got deep into the island where I would say we didn't even know where we were anymore. You could no longer see the ocean. You could no longer see where you were at. I do remember going through like under logs and stuff that had fallen over and trees. And
I remember passing a couple people.
There was some terrain that you had to go up and down, spider webs like crazy, like just nasty surprises. So it was an island, but yet at some point you could look around and couldn't see water. So it was small, but it wasn't entirely too small.
I remember passing a few people, and they were doing that whole, giving you the head. Hey, you guys looking? You find it? No. But everybody knew if you were pretty much in the interior of the island, you were out there trying to search for this JFK bomb shelter, this mysterious, mythical place.
But it definitely pushed us. The need to get away from Nicholas pushed us farther than we ever would have, like deeper in the island. We just kept going. We're like, we'll just keep going. How
fucked up is that though, huh? We just ditch our little brother on this island and run away. I'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah, but see, in hindsight, I can now take credit for the discovery
of the
JFK bomb
beneath
shelter.
our wings.
Yeah.
Had you not been running from me, we would not have found the bomb shelter.
Well, I remember as we were going through this and we started, I think we kind of had given up on actually looking for it. Now it was like, shit, how the hell do we get back to the boat?
Yeah.
And we started to crisscross through, and we came up upon this sewer hole. It looked like a Ninja Turtles sewer with the cover right there, and looked at it and like, what the hell is this doing in the middle side of this island? And we walked up to it, and I can't remember if we went back to the boat and we came back to this. But we were back to this, and we had that guy with us, old pudgy dude with no shirt on. And I remember him saying, hey, you want to go down? Because we slid away this little manhole cover. Like, you want to go down here? We'll check it out. We'll go. And he's egging us on.
We're like, yeah, we'll go down there with a grown man. In the dark?
You want to go down in the dark hole with a grown man and feel my belly?
You ever seen a grown man naked?
In hindsight, like, why wasn't there a lock on that thing?
I mean, it truly
we
was
didn't even have to do a B&E. It was just open.
No.
Yeah, it
truly was
open.
abandoned.
It was almost a safety hazard. You could have stepped on part of it and maybe made it move. But I remember this dude, somehow, somewhere, he got a sock and a big stick. I don't know where the hell. He had a lighter on him or something. And he talked, I believe it was me, to go down the ladder and lit this sock on fire so he could see down in it to see if we had found it. And sure as shit, when I got down to that bottom rung, and I couldn't see anything because it's pitch black, and then I had this lit sock that was handed down to me.
You could have died.
You could see in the distance in there. It was a no shit bomb shelter bunker with beat up old bunk beds and frames and some other things. It wasn't totally torn up from whoever else may have come across it. You could see that it was still the framework of an actual bomb shelter bunker. And then I went in a little bit, and it was kind of scary, and I went back up the ladder and got the hell out of there. But it was pretty awesome.
So it probably existed for, around 30, 35 years into that point. If we're talking 60s, and that had to
crazy
be
that it only
90s.
existed for that long then. Now it's been forever.
Yeah, it would have been like 1991, 92.
Yeah. So it probably was only like 30 years old at the time, which is kind of crazy to think that it had been built, existed for its purpose, and then went to shit so fast. But then we got out, and then lo and behold, we walked towards the front side of what we soon have found out to be the front side. Hey, there's the Coast Guard little port station that's on the side of this island, and oh shit, there's a front door to this thing on the edge of the island. Like now it seems like almost the obvious spot to look. But there was a big front door on it, and it had some vents, but there was a big lock on the front door, so you couldn't just walk in there in the front door of this little bomb shelter. But yeah, it was pretty awesome for us to actually find it. And then
I see him! Look over there! I see him! I see him!
None of us could breathe.
and then we were like heroes. We were heroes of the day. And so now when we're walking back, and people are, hey, you find it? Yeah, we fucking found it.
We went in it.
JFK bomb shelter.
We all went down inside
it
of it.
really does exist. Yep, he went down on it, down in it. Oh no, in it. But yeah, so we'll try to upload some pictures to the video
What
version
happened to the
of
guy?
this podcast. He's still there. I think he went to sleep in the bunk bed.
Yeah, it was his house.
But he was kind of the hero there today. That day with the sock and everything.
You probably wouldn't have gone down in it if he hadn't had a way to see.
Try to load up some video versions and pictures because I think 20 years gone by, I remember seeing that there was they renovated it and they restored it back to its former glory of what it was supposed to have looked like.
It's an actual museum now. You can tour it. You can go over there through the Coast Guard entrance.
Well, I think we should try to go down there. We should go back, right? I mean,
Let's do it.
Are we getting close? Are we at like a milestone year? Like we should go back and celebrate?
But
right?
the key thing is, Brett, you need to light your sock on fire, and we'll go in.
What we have to do is we got to get that fucking pontoon boat, find that, restore it, and take that same pontoon boat that Dad named Carol's Second Pleasure because that was the worst name he could think of.
This is the worst.
Do that. We'll go down there. Yeah. So, well, that was a hell of an adventure. It was fun, especially as teenagers. That was our Goonie adventure to actually find some real life excitement to go down in there and go back and tell everybody we found that shit.
Yeah, it was no longer just a story. It actually became real. And it's still a story I've told people, even to this day. And most people don't know about Peanut Island, especially up here, but South Florida, it definitely is a real thing. We'll have to definitely get some pictures loaded up, some video.
It's just crazy to think that thing was built for John F. Kennedy. In the event of this World War III, that's where he was going to go to make sure he didn't die. I guess it didn't work out too well for him, huh?
Too soon. Turns out he didn't need it anyway.
Yeah, so dark humor. Another topic that we like to kind of talk about is the dark humor that we, as the Kemp brothers, have grown up with. And I think some people
gotta
get
have
it.
a little dark humor once in a while.
You either get it or you don't. Dark humor. For us, it's been a coping mechanism for our whole lives. What we've done to get through. We've never taken things so serious that you can't find a way to laugh about it. And probably even more so, the more serious it is, the more I'm probably going to try to find something to laugh about it just to deal with it or to lighten the situation. So, I mean, some people, they think dark humor is mean. I think it's more of a coping mechanism to get through and to kind of, show people like, hey, you can't take it serious.
I used to party with this guy who once told me, Van, don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive.
My theory is that a lot of military, police officers, firefighters, they see a lot of shitty things. And so that's how they kind of deal with things. Our dad was a cop, and so he kind of had that mentality, and I think we kind of picked up on that. And then you throw in some of the shit that we went through growing up, and that was our coping mechanism. So we just kind of stayed with that. And so it kind of fit right in line with us joining the military and just kind of keeping that whole mentality. And just, I know a lot of the shit you guys went through from overseas, that's all you can do. And you build a bond with some of your comrades through that. Yeah. So please don't ever cancel us. For those of you listening, don't cancel us because we can be pretty sick.
Started.
We just got that dark sense of humor. That's how we cope.
Perfect example for us was our mom passed away when we were relatively young. I think me and Christopher were 21.
What?
Nicholas was at 18, 19.
She's fucking dead?
Yeah, this is news, Nicholas. There's that dark humor.
I knew we forgot to tell him something.
Damn.
She's dead.
Must have run away from him that day, too.
I wonder where you guys went back then.
Yeah, he'd been wondering where all them birthday cards were. And even at our own mom's funeral, that is nothing to laugh at. But you're not laughing at that situation. Us three, we were we were giggling like little schoolgirls, just laughing. We're at the funeral and the wake and stuff, and we don't know all these people that were in our mom's life at the time, but
No, not at all.
we were just laughing about whatever, you name it. We were finding
In
a
a
way to
weird
joke
way,
about
we were
it.
surrounded by all these people, but yet we were very alone. Again,
Yeah,
it was
our
life was in
a bit of a
Florida.
stranger.
She had gone to Virginia. That's where she passed. And also in that time of our lives, we didn't spend a lot of time together. We were apart. I was in the military, but I was in the military. Nicholas, I think you were about to be in the military. But either way, we were separated. We'd all gone our different directions. So for us to be together, which was unfortunate to bring brought together for our mom's funeral, we still took advantage of being together and never missed an opportunity to cut up. And sometimes it wasn't always the most probably ideal place, but we still used our humor. And there we were at the funeral, still cutting up, laughing uncontrollably.
Oh yeah, we were
I
just
wonder what people were
laughing our
thinking.
butts off.
They're probably like, what the?
Yeah, they're taking it really bad. They're actually losing
These
it.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like they're like,
It
man,
was, it
they're
was a sight to
crying.
behold.
Oh my god! But we were crying because we were laughing. So
Yeah.
Now, don't get us wrong. We do miss our mom, but again, we did try to find the humor and wherever we could if we were together and bonding and whatnot.
do you guys remember what we were talking about in that moment?
I remember where we were. We're sitting front row at the funeral. It's not somewhere you want to have a front row seat because usually that means something's happened to a loved one. But there we were. I remember sitting there and it was going on. Honestly, even to this day, it's the only funeral I've ever been to. But so yeah, it was different for me. And looking back now, it's still, I don't know how I would respond. Hopefully, it's people laughing at my funeral.
No, whoa.
Not soon. Not soon.
I'll be laughing. I mean, wait,
So-
what?
Well, I'm older. Remember, that's how it works.
All right, so we gotta stick to that promise. Next person that dies, the other two's gonna be laughing at the funeral.
A long time from
Can
now.
you?
Yes.
Okay. What other examples do you remember of, in general, just of dark humor that maybe we get or others get that you think it's a way to just kind of the saying is giggle at a funeral. It doesn't have to be as serious as a giggle at a funeral. But I remember we were talking about childhood friends and stuff. One of our good friends growing up, Timmy, his dad was very strict.
Timmy!
And he just kind of would go off on him sometimes. But one time there was something that happened, and his dad had a strict protocol for if he was going to hang out or spend the night or something like that or stay over at our place, he needed to ask in a certain order. I don't know, maybe if our listeners or other people can relate, but maybe when you were younger or even, now as teenagers, they have to ask your parents before you ask their parents, the certain protocol. And he went out of line. And the
ask
way
permission, asking
Yeah.
for hand in marriage.
It's gonna have to be some of our older followers because the younger ones, like they're probably texting their mom or dad, like when they're sitting right next to them, like, "Hey, can I spend the night?"
But
Yeah.
Timmy, he didn't follow the protocol, and his dad took it as a slight to him, and it was like
Timmy fucked
he
up.
had backhanded him just for asking the wrong way. So Timmy got yelled at, and I remember
We're all sitting there eating at a dinner table. It was the four of us, right?
Yeah.
It was that little dinner table. Remember outside right next to the kitchen. We had our own little dinner table, and we were just having a good time.
Was this at Timmy's house?
It was at his dad's house, and we were just sitting there having
So
a good
there we
time.
were.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his dad comes over and just starts like screaming at him. We're just like, we're in that awkward situation, where it's like, what do I do? Oh my god, my friend's getting yelled at. We're just kind of like sitting there, like
It's gonna
frozen.
happen.
But I'll let you go ahead, Brett.
his dad was just, almost nose to nose, close to him, and Timmy was stone faced, like he knew he was in trouble.
Well, remember, he had those
Bullshit.
big brown
And
eyes.
he was like right there, and he said, "Timmy, you know how you're supposed to ask when you do these kind of things. I ought to slap you." And then smack, he slapped him right across the face. We're like, oh, shit.
And so I think everybody just sat there stunned, right?
I think we all felt like we got slapped in that moment.
Well, I remember Timmy being like, "Yes, yes, sir. No, got scolded. Said we needed to." So his father would leave him alone.
He hauled off and smacked him right across the face.
And Timmy was one with dark humor because that kid had nothing, but he could do nothing but laugh at the situations he was in because sometimes he was he was set up there. No matter what, if he wanted to if his dad was gonna smack him, he was gonna find a way, and Timmy was just gonna have to deal with it. So I remember after he got smacked, we're sitting there, and then Timmy Just like, oh, I'll he makes fun of the situation right away. He's like, I think next time I'll hit. Nope, I think I will now. Smack. We're all like dying, just waiting for him to come back over. We're like, oh, it's probably
We started laughing about it. Timmy had tears rolling down his face
and a red mark.
He was kind of like handprint across his face, and he was sitting there making jokes about it. And Timmy is just like, in trouble mode, but he can't help but to be like, he's starting to laugh about it. And that's that whole dark humor
that kid could take a beating.
In that moment, not only you just get slapped by your father, and so you're hurt in that way, but you just got embarrassed, in front of your friends. And so I remember him just being like frozen and the tears just like rolling down his face. I mean, it felt so bad for him. And then again, like it's the dark humor that brings us together.
It was his way of letting us know, I'm okay, guys.
I'm gonna get through this.
Yeah. I'm a survivor.
Oh man, that was crazy. Oh, Timmy, where were you at? Getting smacked around too much.
Yeah, but don't get us wrong. Not only did Timmy do dumb stuff once in a while, he was a little crazy at that age. We were too. We would do dumb stuff as well.
Get bored, You gotta find some shit to do.
Yeah. We did some dumb shit. We got bored. So I guess we can move on to dumb shit we did.
Perfect angels.
I don't
like
even
to
know how.
think the shit that we did wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been.
No. Our stories are pretty innocently funny.
Yeah.
Kind of like we've told in some of our other podcasts. We weren't doing crazy shit and
we were just getting away with little stuff that was, I guess, interesting yet dumb to even do.
I mean, looking back on it now, it seems pretty stupid. What the hell were we thinking with some of these things we did do? Though?
Like
the one time with Dad's shed. You remember what we did to Dad's shed?
Aluminum shed.
Yeah, so we had the
aluminum prefab shed, all in one kind of
one where you
metal.
get craned in and puts on a concrete slab. It's just a ready-built shed, just to add tools. And we would take Dad's tools, namely the screwdrivers.
Nope.
I mean, how the hell did it even start? We would take the screwdrivers,
back really good at throwing them,
and throw them like they were knives right through the aluminum walls of the shed. And we didn't do it once. We didn't do it twice. We probably did it hundreds of times to this perfectly good, I'd say, what, $10,000 to $15,000 shed.
Cheese.
Yeah, it was the Swiss shed. But man, those screwdrivers stuck well.
We beat the shit out of that shed.
Yeah, I think we were just waiting one day for to get the Timmy smack. Timmy! Just for no reason, and it never happened. I don't remember Dad ever saying anything.
I remember him giving a shit. It would start raining and be like, all my tools are wet. Like, that's because there's a bunch of fucking holes in this shit. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, we upped our game. We're not only throwing the screwdrivers to the side, we're landing them in the roof. In fact, excuse me, I've got to go up there and get a screwdriver.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
It's some crazy hail.
You need a Phillips head? All right, let me go up on the roof real quick.
Oh, that one's too big? Let me put it back.
Yeah,
new hole.
Keeping the rain out.
Yeah, that's a big hole. I want to keep that one there.
Put those screwdrivers back in there. I'm getting wet down here.
I remember the
set of screwdrivers, Dad, to plug up these holes.
Yeah, you'll find them on the left side of the shed wall.
I remember the window was broken. I'm sure we were probably the reason for that. It was probably throwing the screwdriver and missed and hit the little window. Oops. Had the one window on the opposite side of the door. I remember that.
One window.
And I remember one time you guys were hiding in there. You guys had run away from me, and you were hiding in the shed. I had one of those little mini super soakers, and I was trying to jump up and spray in there and get you guys with the super soaker. And I couldn't jump as high as I thought, I guess. And I caught my thumb on the broken window, and it like peeled the skin on my thumb back. And I still have the scar here where you can see the outline of where I peeled the skin back, and then we wrapped it with a Band-Aid, and it actually healed the skin. I didn't lose the skin.
I remember that because we got in trouble for locking you out while you were squirting us while we locked ourselves in a 150-degree tin box. You got in trouble.
But there's plenty of ventilation because of all the holes.
Oh yeah. That's what we were doing. We were saving
our own lives.
Well, there were also little tiny holes that were made from something else besides the screwdriver. You guys remember what that was?
Yeah.
What?
That was a 457 BB gun.
The golden gun.
We're talking James Bond golden gun.
I don't know what we didn't shoot with that BB gun.
Yeah, that might have been part of the reason why the windows broke.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
we almost started shooting each other.
Well, you remember, to kind of not completely blow our cover with the couple neighbors that were around us, we would open up the master bedroom where we would get this Glock chromed out looking BB gun it has a weight to it too.
Double spring action. You got to pull it back and push it in.
We could barely even pull that thing back.
Push it in and then shoot. But we would open up the master bedroom window right there. It was just a single level house.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd take the screen out, put that down by the wall, and then we'd get like a milk crate looking thing.
Yep. No, they were milk
Dig
crate.
through the trash and find beer bottles or take out light bulbs, and then we'd set them out on the crate, and we would just start having, it looked like a Christmas Story. Or
we weren't getting light bulbs out of the trash. We were taking good light bulbs out of lamps that were currently working in the house and using for target practice.
Like the lights burned out. Nope. Light bulbs
gone. Oh, there's part of it over there. There's part of it over there. Why is it in the yard?
And we would just break the glass. It was just where you drove the cars by right there too. No big deal.
Tons of glass, and I think we definitely didn't get it all up. Again,
hey, we did pretty good.
We'd go get the lawnmower out of the shed after we shot it up, and we'd run over it,
crush it all up,
get rid of any of the leftover debris. Because I remember specifically, we could, there was only so many light bulbs in the house and so many beer bottles in the garbage can. Shoot them, break them, and be like, we got nothing left to shoot at. And so from the window,
Nicholas,
we'd start shooting the shed, run. But yeah, I remember shooting the hell out of the shed.
I mean, yeah, and this gun, if it was seen running around the yard, I mean,
you'd be dead.
It didn't look like a typical BB gun. It looked like run around with a loaded 57 Magnum. It was dangerous, but it was fun. It was fun.
Well, we'll just take a second right there while we can to tell our viewers to make sure you click on the buttons. We're figuring this out still as we go, so we promise to keep getting better. So keep giving us any kind of feedback. Put in the comments, feedback section of whatever you're listening to or watching this on, and tell us about some of the dumb things you did. Tell us about what you got away with. Tell us about some of the things you've seen, maybe even your kids do, and the lessons learned, and stories you can share with us, or things you want to hear. So like, subscribe, find that podcast, share the word. We're on the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. So if there's another platform out there, let us know what we can do to share, to get better, and to keep going. We're gonna keep making these as long as you guys keep listening and keep watching.
What's fun about telling some of these stories? Each one of us remembers things a little bit differently. Some of it's like a little bit foggier for one of us, and so it's fun to talk about these things. And some of it, it's like, that's right, I remember that happening. But there were some things that we don't really remember at all. Do you guys have any stories that you've been told about of maybe when you got older and you were drinking and did something that you don't really remember?
Yeah, I like to refer to those times as the best times I'll never remember. Because you have either that it's very fuzzy, or
these are the
only
stories you're told about.
Yeah. And only after somebody starts to tell you about it, you're like, oh, that's starting to bring back some of those, unblocking those memories. I remember some of the times where I've partaken a little much more recently, even at Christopher's retirement ceremony party, after party at his night. I flew in from out of town, and I was going hard in the paint. I was trying to get everybody to go with me.
It was quite the night.
But we had this 6 o'clock tea time at this nice golf resort.
Yeah, we had to open the course and
get up at 5 in the morning.
We had to go out there with the greenskeepers and get it ready.
Yeah. Well, a buddy of ours used his vacation time to, as a retirement gift, to get us on this course. And the stipulation was we had to go off early. I don't know if they're trying to hide us from the regulars or whatnot, but it was, I think, 6:30 a.m. and it was about a 45-minute drive to the place. The weather was kind of.
I would have been fine. I would have been absolutely fine. But it was 1, 2 in the morning, so I'm told.
Yeah.
And I was having a good time.
It was 2 in the morning when we were like, Brett, you have to go to sleep. We're teeing off in hours.
So you don't remember any of it, Brett?
I remember drinking some stuff called apple pie.
Yeah, and I almost never have it anymore. There's good memories in there. It's not Nan's apple crumble, but it's close.
And some other things, and I was trying to talk other people into it, but then everybody was telling me how funny I was and the stories I was sharing. And I was like, I told that story? I told that story? I told the story about Dad? His dog of destruction?
We'll talk about that
We'll
on
talk
another
about that one in a
episode.
different episode. But
you were acting it out,
yeah.
which was hilarious.
Mhm.
It was a good time. I wish we had that on video. That was a good time.
But that next morning, and I would have been fine. But the next morning, they had to get me up at 5 a.m, and I was like dead to the world. And if I could have just slept it off, I would have been okay. But I wasn't. And then, what's the worst thing you can do when you are drunk or super hungover? How about get it in a nice long car ride?
Road trip.
Good. So
In the backseat.
I was still kind of feeling okay once I got going, and I hammered out a few holes. And these lovely gentlemen had videoed me puking in the bushes. You might have a clip of that.
I think it was hole number 2.
They took audio of me in the truck using a trash bag as my vomit bag receptacle and had some very clear audio of that moment.
That's our brotherly duty. We had to do that, right?
Well, the best part was when we couldn't find the golf course and these nice old ladies were giving us the directions, and Dad's sitting there on the passenger side talking to them, giving them the vibe. And they're like, well, if you go through that way, the gate, which is clearly closed and we can't go that way. And Brett's like tapping me like, we gotta go. And then as soon as we go and we put up the window, Brett's like, off in the back.
Oh yeah, that's still all a little fuzzy.
Man,
that was the beginning of the day. It was fun.
You made it through 2 holes, and then went back and slept it off.
I think I got through like 7 or 8 holes, and then I had you guys take me back because then everything started hitting me like a ton of bricks.
We got
back.
You guys
need to take me back.
Weather wasn't good.
I just need to try to sleep in the truck. I can't keep going.
Yeah, weather wasn't good, and then I think we had to call it after we made the turn.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Call
We didn't
it.
make it all the way.
So Brett actually wasn't by himself very long, but he was.
And I went home and slept for like 3 hours, woke up, and I was fine.
Ready to go.
I wasn't fine. Let's do it again.
That's right.
Get the apple pie back out.
I got some more stories in me.
Ooh, let's do that again. No!
I remember one time when Nicholas, I think you were throwing quite the rager.
Totally
Dad was
unexpected.
moving out of a house.
Yep. You
Dad was
literally
moving out
had
of
an
his
empty
house.
house to yourself. I was
It was
gone. I was not there.
absolutely- Yeah, it was absolutely empty, and it was kind of on this big open. I think there was like the actual plantation behind the house, a nursery with all the plants and stuff back there in Florida. And they were moving out of this house. They were kind of not on good terms with the guy he was renting the house with, and he was like, "I'm out of here."
Landlords? Fuck landlords. Not sexually, but I hate mine, dude.
So we helped him. We rented this big U-Haul, cleared out the house, and Nick was like, "I'm gonna throw a rager right here." We got this whole house. Dad's already moved into his new place, and I was home for the weekend. He's like, "Give me that ID card." And so I went and bought all kinds of beer. Nicholas got some stuff, and then we put a black light in the window because I came up with this perfect idea to identify what house when you're trying to find a house and roaming the streets in the middle of nowhere kind of thing, and you just look for that window that had the black light in it. And we must have had 100 teenagers.
Late 90s.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like 99. I think I just graduated. Like, this was totally unexpected.
So you still had beepers, barely had cell phones.
That was why it was one of the best parties. It wasn't that well planned out. It turned into like this Project X type party. We had hundreds of kids over there just running wild all over the place. Empty house. I remember we had this huge fan that was to be used in one of the nurseries, and me and Nicholas started fondly referring to it as our biggest fan.
And
everybody started taking pictures with this fan with beers in their hands saying, "It's our biggest fan, oh my gosh." And everybody's drinking. And then Nicholas, I remember you had spent like the last $20 you had on the black light. And then you started getting so tipsy. And you
forgot about that.
I was trying to go to sleep. And it was late. And I remember you knocking on the door. "Bah, bah." And I was like, What? I opened the door and you're like, "I broke the black light. Can you give me the money for it?" Like, I was gonna return it back to Walmart, and I broke the back light. Yeah, I was like, "Come on, it's not a big deal." And you're like, "Oh God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I broke it." And then
I remember bits and pieces of that.
Yeah, but then also you had some friends stay the night, and you were sleeping in your back bedroom. There was really nothing there
on the floor. Right?
Let's get back to that. Let's come back to that. I want to give a little more details on this. This party was epic. This party was epic.
Okay. You have the floor.
This party like was completely unplanned. Like we're just there. We're there for labor, right? Because Dad is moving out of this house, and like you said, we got this U-Haul truck, and of course, Dad's like, "All right, you guys take care of it. I'll be at my new place," and we're left there to just fucking load up the rest of this damn house into this U-Haul truck, and then we got to drive the truck. So remember, the truck was parked outside, right? We got the thing all loaded up, and we specifically like we were intentional about. We're not loading the refrigerator yet. We're leaving that. Leaving that thing out. We need that, right? We don't need anything else. We got a couple of couches, a love seat, and we got the fridge, right? And I remember
and the biggest fan.
And the biggest fan. We brought that from one of the nurseries out back. And we put that in the front room, and we had that blowing down the hallway. And so we went to the store, and we could not fit any more alcohol in that fridge. And we did all that in hopes that people were going to come. And I remember being so nervous. I don't know if I ever told this to you. I was so nervous that nobody was going to come because, like, I wasn't the most popular person in high school. I like to think I knew everybody, but I wasn't, I wasn't homecoming king, stuff like that. But I made a few phone calls. I'm like, man, I hope people come through. But you never know, especially back then. You're not texting people. You phone a few people and you hope that they call people and they call people and they call people.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, we wound up having like 100 people there. Like I couldn't believe how many people were there. And so, I mean, the alcohol was flowing, and then
I remember the back of the U-Haul turned into a party room too.
Yeah.
We opened up that sliding door on the back, and people were hanging out in there, running out of real estate.
It was crazy. I mean, but we didn't give a shit because we're getting ready to leave the property, and like you said, Dad was on bad terms with this guy that he was renting the house from.
You're like burning to the ground,
and
whoa, almost.
I remember bits and pieces of that black light, whatever, and being upset about it. But then the next piece I learned about after the fact, because there was a girl that I was dating who she had come, and she wound up, I think, passing out on the floor with me.
Whoa.
It happened. But then I don't know if you want to tell it, or I can tell the parts that I was explained.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it was told to me and to you too, because you weren't really there. Because you were there, but you weren't there. But it was one of those cases where I think a couple times during the night you woke up and you went to go relieve some of that beer that you had been drinking all night, and you started to piss in the trash can that was in the corner of the room.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
That's not what that's for.
And the girl was like, "No." She was like, "Don't."
You're mental. Why are you taking a shit in the trash can?
From what she told me, I started to go there, which perfectly acceptable place to pee, right? I'm not just peeing all over the place. I'm peeing into a receptacle. It didn't have a drain, but at least I was sober enough to find the place where it would be contained. This wasn't good enough for her, so she apparently directed me outside, out the back door, which the door was one of those doors that, like, the entire length of the door was a window. And so she said I continued to go outside, and in my disagreement with her relocating me, I turned towards her and peed all over the window of the door, like I was writing on the wall with my
happy, you know?
You like that? Yeah, up and down.
I just wrote my name on the window.
Look at how high I can go, all the way up. Look at that.
Man,
I don't remember any of that. She says it happened. I mean, I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, we're ending on a high note there.
Yeah,
it was pretty high.
Nicholas' career as a window washer.
Yeah, that was a good time. Well, I think that's going to about do it for this episode on the Welcome Distraction podcast. I'm Brett Kemp. That's Christopher Kemp. And Nicholas Kemp. Click on all the things. Find the podcast, the YouTube version of this. We like to put in little videos here and there and extra clips in the video versions of this. So again, if you got any other suggestions, let us know. So we look forward to the next time and seeing you again here on the Welcome Distraction podcast. We're out.